And the silky, smooth riff means only one thing, the return
Yes.
of old school, new school. Noah Savage, joined as always by Rick Wolf. How are you?
I'm good, Noah. I sure hope today I can finally straighten you out to see the world the way it should be seen. That's my quest. That's my challenge.
Well, I have many challenges that are not that. But Rick Wolf, you are a well-known expert on sports parenting, a sports psychologist. You played minor league baseball in the Tigers organization, coached for the Indians organization, coached college baseball for around a decade, and you just happen to be my father-in-law.
Yeah, just happened to be.
And I know a little bit about sports, too. You know, I played a little bit.
So you claim. You
know, basketball. I played baseball up to 7th grade. Had to quit for AAU, but here we are on another episode. Thanks for joining us on Old School, New School. As always, share it with your friends. Subscribe, rate it. And every Friday, you're going to get that new dose of Old School, New School, so you can waste some time at work.
Well, Noah, let's get right to this. We have a lot of topics to get into.
A lot's happened. When we started the show, we were in the middle of August, doldrum city, nothing going on, and now it seems like the world is exploding every week.
Okay. Where do you want to start first? You want to talk about our friend at ESPN making comments about President Trump?
Absolutely.
Go for it.
So Jamil Hill, who's the host of The Six, which is a 6 o'clock Sports Center on ESPN, has pretty much, captured the headlines of the last couple of days due to a tweet storm when, amongst other things, she said that President Trump was a white supremacist.
Okay.
So she first made headlines doing that, but then ESPN made headlines because she wasn't suspended, she wasn't fired, and then the White House, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, said she made a fireable offense. So we had the government talking about a SportsCenter host.
So you can slice and dice this any way you want. On one hand, and you'll probably say this, well, this was great publicity. It was a real brainstorm for Hill and her people at ESPN to put her front and center. From what I've heard, that show's not doing much in terms of ratings. And now everybody's talking about her and what she's saying about the president. So, yes, from that perspective, I guess from a showbiz perspective, something you're very familiar with, this is a good move. But come on.
But let me compare this to something. Here's how I watch reality TV, which I'm sure you don't watch zero of. But I watch...
What is
if you watch, like, The Real Housewives or The Kardashians, there's always that person in the room going, like, well, it's scripted. They just did this to get publicity.
Right.
I take that off the table because that ruins my enjoyment of it. So for this, if I'm going to look at Jamil Hill and what she did this week, I'm taking some publicist decided to tell her to do this off the table. Because I think then, who cares then? If you're just saying stuff to say stuff.
You think she decided, I feel this way.
Yes.
And she probably does.
Yeah.
But she's African American. She probably feels, as many people do in America, that Trump is a racist or whatever, or doesn't want to get in the way and say things that are politically incorrect because it might erode his political base. So she says, I'm going to say this and let the chips fall where they may. And you just pointed out, ESPN is now in an awkward situation. Do they come back and suspend her for making what they consider less than positive comments about the President of the United States?
Yeah.
Or they do nothing?
Well...
And mind you, ESPN
yeah.
suspends people all the time for saying stupid stuff or for doing stupid stuff.
Well, Bill Simmons basically got fired for saying that Roger Goodell lied, which he pretty much did.
Yeah.
And then Kurt Schilling got fired for a transsexual bathroom comment and kind of diatribe. Remember back in the day when Rush Limbaugh, he was on Monday Night Football for about 2 minutes.
There's a guy.
But the problem that I think is valid is that it seems like when it's a quote-unquote right-wing statement, people get fired. But if it's more lefty-leaning, then nothing happened. That's kind of the gripe that people have.
So what happens here?
So I think... I don't know. I think you kind of have to... I honestly think nothing should happen.
Whoa. She just goes on... Now, I know she said, or was acknowledged in the media, that ESPN apparently talked to her and said, don't do that.
And she issued an apology which said, although I do think these things, I put ESPN in an awkward situation.
Right. All right. So is that the end of this?
It's kind of like you show up at a wedding shower and you go, I don't think you should be marrying this guy. And then later you go, look, I don't think you should marry him, but...
since you are, good luck to you.
Yeah, but, maybe I shouldn't have picked your wedding shower to announce it. It's kind of a sidling, sideways, diagonal apology.
And by the way, I hope nobody said it to you about my daughter.
Well, they probably said it to her about me.
That I can believe.
That was the theme of the wedding shower.
I can only assume that the brain trust at ESPN said to her in a closed-door meeting, look, if you ever want to say something again, you might be considered controversial, you first run it past us.
Yeah.
Because other than that, next time, you will be gone.
But I think it's hard because ESPN and every media outlet has kind of been going more opinions, more debate. They have first thing, it's called embrace debate.
Oh, stop.
So they say have an opinion, be a loudmouth, but no, not about this thing.
Let me get old school for a second with you. Do you understand that, and people your age are all about opinions and talking, because they have, this is the freedom of speech we have in America. Do you understand that there are limits on freedom of speech? Do you understand that? I mean, if you go to a movie theater and it's crowded, this is the old first-year law school analogy, and you get up and yell, fire, fire, because you feel you have a right to freedom of speech to yell what you want in a crowded place, you can't do that without getting arrested.
Yeah.
So here's Jemele Hill doing something that...
So how does having a political belief on Twitter equate to putting anybody in danger? Or, boy, I don't get it.
You're trying to restrict this. The point is that you have to be held accountable for what you say or what you write. And in this particular case, if she had done this 10, 15, 20 years ago in the media, she'd be fired, and she wouldn't get a job probably for the next 10, 15 years because she'd always be, chastised as this person who said something really stupid, and why didn't she think about the consequences before she said it? It's just like when high school kids go on Twitter today about, and say something stupid on Twitter or on social media about whatever it might be, and then they lose college scholarships. Yeah. It's very parallel.
I agree with that. And another thing, I just think it's a little bit sad that we're in such a polarizing time that people can't even hear somebody else's political argument without just kind of turning off to it. Like Stephen Colbert has gone completely anti-Trump, and he's pretty much said, look, I'm going to run a late night show where we only talk about hating on Trump. Yeah. And his ratings have gone through the roof.
Because, first of all, he is a known comedian.
Right.
Hill is not a comic. She's a sports journalist.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying about opinions, and that's what sells, and so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, you still have to be held accountable for the things you say.
Right, and there's a way to say this in nuance. We're going to move on, but Jemele Hill could have said...
We're going to move on.
Hold on. She could have said, I don't like the way that Trump responded in Charlottesville. He surrounded himself with people who have shown white nationalist leanings. But to say he himself is a white supremacist...
How does she know that?
It's just histrionic. It's hyperbole. It's too far. And then people turn off to your whole message.
Well, I'm glad to see you are finally seeing the light and agreeing with me. And by the way, just for the record...
Yeah.
I'm not a Trump supporter.
Right.
I think he is a loudmouth buffoon.
Right.
And at some point I'll share with you on the air how he once sued me for $5 billion. That's billion with a B, for a book I published about him. And guess what? He lost. So,
yeah, but you had the cash is the important part.
That's the story for another time.
So, from two broadcasters, myself, of course, a future Hall of Famer, and you, a washed-up old guy, we had the joy of witnessing greatness on the field on Monday Night Football in the form of Sergio Pippp.
First of all, Sergio Pippp, what's his real name?
First of all, Sergio Pippp is a great name. Sounds like a type of seltzer water. Like, it's unbelievable.
It sounds like a seltzer water. Hey, I'll have a Sergio Pippp.
So Sergio Pippp, listen, you are Dr. Pepper. So Sergio had a rough night. There's two parts to this story. He was doing sideline, and his sideline report basically amounted to, I'm on the field, they're on the field, and we're all having fun. That's basically what he said, right?
It was inane. It was like, again, let me go old school on you.
Okay.
You ever heard of a guy named Jackie Gleason, famous comedian back in the 50s?
Of course.
Okay. And he had a great show, a classic show called
The Honeymooners. Yeah.
and he played Ralph Cramden, the bus driver from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
And occasionally he had some situations where he was on television, live TV, as Ralph Cramden, the bus driver.
Yeah.
And as soon as that red light went on, he would go, hamana, 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 hamana.
Yeah.
And looking at Sergio Pip just doing this incredible meltdown on national television, I'm thinking, that's Ralph Cramden's son. Hamana, 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 hamana.
Well, my first reaction was, this is a second Boom Goes the Dynamite guy, which is
Boom Goes the Dynamite.
one of my most, it's one of my favorite clips in the history of the world. But my second reaction was watching everybody react on Twitter, and then Sergio Pip just sent, the peace sign.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite type of athlete or person, is the person with incredible bounce-back game. They don't get embarrassed. He was just like, yeah, I'm doing my thing, whatever. He is the type of guy who could go up on a comedy stage, bomb for 10 minutes, and then be like, oh, good set. He had great bounce back, which I admire.
Well, his so-called apology, I'm sure you watched that, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't see the video of his apology?
No. What was he apologizing for?
What?
Also, important to note, the guy's a native Spanish speaker.
He's from Mexico.
Yeah, so he's doing his second language. He was just going deliberately.
Stop.
But no, I did see the apology. The apology proved to me that this is just how he talks. He just talks very slowly.
I guess it was heartfelt and sincere. But here again, I'm thinking.
But what did he apologize for?
For whatever he did, for being like Ralph Cramden, or like Boom Goes the Dynamite. But he was doing it obviously in his hotel room a few hours after the broadcast, and it was like I had never seen anybody do that. Now here's the bottom line: I didn't know whether to cry or to laugh at this guy, but I know this: that Sergio Pip became an instant, well-known household name.
Yeah,
you will never forget that name ever again. And he'll guarantee.
And also,
he'll pop up someplace else. That's Sergio Pip.
Yeah, and he was actually better than Rex Ryan. I thought the bright shining thing of the whole broadcast person was Beth Mowins, who she had to carry the whole broadcast. She was phenomenal, and literally Rex Ryan was saying things like, "Oh, well, when that guy goes over there, that's good for that other guy."
First of all, Rex Ryan. Everybody knows Rex Ryan is a big bag of gas. And when he coached the NFL, he was always good copy because he would say something stupid and outlandish. Hey, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I guarantee it. He'd say stupid stuff, and then the teams would go out and be lousy, mediocre.
He was funny. He's got giant teeth like a Clydesdale, which is always great.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got big, cheesy teeth. His brother's a psycho. He's got a weird tattoo of his wife on his ankle. He's like a closet freak. There's a lot to like about this guy.
So I always predicted, for years, he's just waiting to get. He's collecting a lot of money in his paychecks, or as a coach, with the Jets and the Bills, whatever. And then he's going to go right over to the network as an analyst. And when that happens, he's really going to find his métier because that's what he does. He talks and talks a lot, and he's loud. And sure enough, he finally lands on network TV.
But this is a little bit,
and he says nothing.
But this is a little bit like when Shaq joined TNT. And everybody said, "Oh, he's great for a soundbite. He'll be great on TV." And Shaq was terrible for year one, and now he's actually good because they've learned how to work with him. No. So some producer is going to be like, "Rex, you have to talk when something happens."
No, he does this, and I've worked color commentator, on MSG and ESPN and so on and so forth. And the fact is, when you're doing color, you're so caught up in the game itself that sometimes you actually are watching the game, and you should be talking about it.
There's very rare instances when you can let the game breathe.
Yeah.
And if you're on TV.
He doesn't, nobody got with Rex and said, let me explain something to you how this game is played. Your play-by-play person is going to talk and do the reset of what's going on. It's 3rd and 8, and the ball's at the 24-yard line, and you have to then come and make some pithy comment within a matter of 8 seconds.
Just watch Gruden. Love him.
Or say something outrageous. Or you can say in the air, yeah, I had this guy when I was with the Bills, so he's a real dog,
Yeah.
All you got to do is say that. Or, Alex Karras once referred to Otis Sistrunk as being from the University of Mars. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
But the point is, nobody got with Rex or he wasn't paying attention. And by the way, just as far as Beth is concerned, at the risk of sounding like the total male chauvinist,
don't say it. Whatever you say, just don't say it.
I'm just going to tell you.
Don't say it.
She's fine. She is fundamentally fine doing play-by-play. I don't particularly like her voice.
Okay.
It sort of grates on me, goes sort of funny like this.
Okay.
But she's not. She's being celebrated as the first woman to do play-by-play
in 30 years. In 30 years.
Gail Sirens did it 30 years ago, and you know what?
Right.
She was terrific.
Well, what happened? Why was there a 30-year... Let's just real briefly explain why there's a 30-year gap. Because one of my favorite broadcasters out there, period, is Doris Burke. I love her. I love when she does the NBA.
Yeah, but she's not doing, play-by-play. Okay?
She does do play-by-play sometimes, actually.
Fine.
But the point is that...
The WNBA,
the point is that it's so clearly sexism when you see Beth Mowins do it, and she's better than half the guys out there. 30 years. This is another... It's 2017. What year is it?
Gail Sirens was asked to do more NFL 30 years ago, but she had a contract with her TV station in Tampa that said, no, we're not letting you do that. You're our property, and we're saying you cannot do that.
Plus, the war ended, so men came back and started doing play-by-play, right?
Stop. It's not World War II, But, I mean, and Beth Mowins has been doing college football for years. It wasn't like a novel thing for her.
All right, well, she was fantastic. Wouldn't you agree? She was good?
She does good play-by-play, but she's not one of my favorites because I much prefer her somebody who has a male voice, and quite frankly, somebody who's actually played the game.
All right, well...
There, I said it. You have to...
hate it. We'll write an email to the network, but that was really disgusting display right there.
Fine,
Let's move on. So, Baker Mayfield, quarterback for Oklahoma, after a win at Ohio State, attempted to plant the Oklahoma flag in the center of the field.
He's lucky he wasn't either lynched or shot on sight. What a dope.
Well, there's two problems with this, right? First of all, they were playing on turf.
Yeah.
So he tried to jam the flag into basically...
You can't put a flag in the turf.
Concrete, and then he didn't just hold it up.
What is he doing? Why would he do something so stupid?
So apparently they do this with one of their other rivals. But I love it. Plant the flag. Let them know who's boss. We took over. This is our court right now. But then what I don't like is that he apologized. It's the same symptom we had.
The people from Oklahoma said to him, "Hey, son, you can't do that. That's wrong." Remember they have Midwestern values.
Well, do you think it's wrong?
Of course, it's wrong. It's so disrespectful. Let me ask you something. Did you ever win a game in college?
No.
You must have beaten somebody.
I lost a lot of games.
Did you beat anybody?
Yeah, we won some games.
All right, did you beat Penn?
We beat Davidson.
How
about that?
No,
Pre-Steph Curry.
Did you beat like an Ivy League team?
Yes, once.
Penn.
Very early.
Did you beat Penn?
I don't even know if I beat Penn.
Right,
I beat Penn once. We beat Penn once.
Hypothetically.
Never at Penn. All right, we beat Harvard. That's close to your home. Off a buzzer beater. Boom.
So here's what happens. You beat Harvard.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And they're giving 110%, and they're upset and defeated. And you, after the game, decide in your Princeton black and orange uniform
to start breakdancing in half court.
You're going to bring your Princeton flag on a pole and race up and down in front of the Harvard bench and say, "Ha ha ha ha! We're Princeton and we're proud of it."
Yeah.
How's that going to play out?
I don't like it, and also,
it's the same thing.
If it's
and you might try to jam the flag into the hardwood, but
if Harvard, well, I definitely would do that. If Harvard did that to me, that's a fight. And I don't care. That's going to be a fight.
So I'm saying, this guy Mayfield, he's lucky.
But this is football. Jam the flag in.
Oh, stop.
Capture the flag. Let's move on.
All right, once again, you're wrong. That's bad sportsmanship.
All right, so this is probably a quick hitter, but
NBA is going to penalize teams who rest healthy players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, they've done a good job. Again, the NBA has shown why they are the premier league in the world. They're on the rise.
Whoa, stop. How can you even say that when you got guys saying, I'm healthy, but I'm going to sit in this one out?
Well, guess who started? Your boy, Popovich, was like, I don't care. I'm sending guys home early. He sent guys home flagrantly early on a road trip.
I understand that, but Popovich is just being a smart coach. He says, my job description is to win basketball games, so it means sending guys home early because I don't want to exhaust them. I'm going to do that. Finally, Adam Silver said, we can't allow this because it's not right. It's wrong.
Which is good. And the rules committee and the competition committee have done two good things here. One, they're gonna penalize resting healthy players, and two, they're gonna lower the percentages for the top 4 teams in terms of losses that they will get the top picks. So in other words, you could barely miss the playoffs and still have a better chance of getting a top pick compared to the way it is now.
No, you're buying into this because obviously you buy into.
Well, because I understand math.
No, because you think the NBA is the world's greatest sports league.
Yeah, but it's a have and have not league. I can't watch another team pull a Philadelphia for 3 years and lose on purpose.
That's a different issue. But my point is,
what? That's an issue.
All you say, a guy says, superstar NBA player says, yeah, I got a twinge in my hamstring. My back hurts. Didn't sleep well last night. Oh, you have to sit tonight.
Yeah, the old back spasms.
Yeah, how do you?
Did you ever have back spasms when you were playing so bad you couldn't play?
No.
Me neither. But in the 90s, it used to be back spasms, back spasms.
And in baseball, I get a lat sprain.
Oh, is it lat sprain?
Who's a lat sprain?
Right.
Lateral, what?
Sprained your lat?
How do you do that? Swing a baseball bat. What?
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you, how are you going to quantify that somebody has a lat sprain or a tender hamstring or has back spasms so they can't play? That happens to be your big star.
That's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, but tonight, I knew you came here to spend a lot of money to watch Kevin Durant or LeBron James. Unfortunately, LeBron has a headache. He won't be playing.
Yeah, but that's okay. I'd rather have that. Let's all at least pretend we're trying.
Oh, jeez.
Rather than just say rest.
All right, but your league's got problems, okay?
What do you think about the sponsored jerseys? The Warriors have gone and got a $60 million sponsorship.
Well, let's just have them play soccer out there.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Just get a goalie under the basket and just give the guys some shin guards, then play soccer.
It's bizarre.
It's brutal. It is brutal. Don't even do that. Don't even think of doing that. And I'm embarrassed for you for even suggesting
my European jersey had like 9 sponsors, and you would have think they paid me more, with all the sponsors.
Yeah, he was making money. It wasn't you.
All right, let's move on. So we actually had a listener email. This comes from Kyle. Okay, hold on. I got to find it. Hold on. Let's take a break. Hold on. We'll be right back. And we're back. Old school, new school. Noah Savage. Joined, as always, by Rick Wolf.
All right, well, let's get into this. What is this email you're talking about?
So we've got a listener email, our first ever, from Kyle in Strongsville, Ohio.
Okay, sounds like an Indians fan.
Rick, as a baseball guy, can you give your thoughts on the Indians' recent winning streak? The numbers are staggering and really haven't been seen from any team in baseball ever. Can you talk about the task and difficulty of maintaining focus and energy to do what they have done for over 21 games?
Did you ever see the movie Major League, Ricky Vaughn?
Yeah.
There you
go. That's your answer?
Party at Ricky Vaughn's house. But look, the Indians are one of those ball clubs that because they're a have-not franchise, they don't have a big market with lavish cable TV contracts or radio or whatever. The fact of the matter is they had to be very smart. They've had to figure out how to build with draft choices and be very, very prudent when it comes to who they sign. And eventually, that has now begun to really sort of pay off. The fact of the matter is the Indians have a very, very solid team, defensively, offensively, pitching. And yes, I will also tell you that it's extremely difficult to win 4 or 5 games in a row in baseball because so many things can go wrong. A pitcher can have a bad night. There are errors that are made. There are all sorts of problems in the field. The fact is, to win 21 games in a row is just an extreme achievement, and they are to be saluted. On the other hand, the night I watched, and I used to play in the Tigers organization, they're going the other way. They may lose 20 games in a row because they just don't have a clue on what they're doing to rebuild or to restock the team. Anyway, the point is, Cleveland has talented players, and they could be really, really good this year in the playoffs.
Also, if you bet $100 on the first game and you let it ride all the way through the streak, you'd be betting over $1 million right now.
We're not talking about gambling away, which is a sin, and you know that. Okay, what's the next topic?
I think that's it, unless you want to talk about our friend Chris Christie.
The governor, Chris Christie?
Yeah.
I understand that, he has done some sub-hosting on WFAN, but he recently announced that he's not going to be pursuing any more positions at WFAN. So I guess you're looking for different career options.
Yeah, because a caller called in and said, take your fat butt off the air and go open a beach where everyone can go, and then you could go to the beach.
And the governor told the guy that, you must be a communist.
Yeah.
So maybe Chris might want to consider other career choices when he finishes in New Jersey. Maybe he might be like a toll taker on the George Washington Bridge.
They don't do that anymore, I don't think. But
Make a special case for him.
yeah.
Or be a park ranger on the New Jersey beaches, where you can run around people and say, "Get the hell off the beach."
Yeah.
All right, no, I gotta go eat dinner.
All right, one more quick hitter for me.
Yes.
Have you heard Lonzo Ball's new rap song?
Oh, no.
First, he comes at the king and says Nas is irrelevant, and then he drops a verse, and it's garbage, as they say on the streets. Well, that concludes this episode of Old School.
We'll see you
New
next
School.
time, Noah.